So, what if I told you that you, yes, you, have a superpower that you don't even know about? Nope, it's not flying or reading minds like in the movies. It's actually something way more subtle, a really deep, intuitive way of seeing the world that goes beyond just looking or listening. Seriously, think about it for a second. Have you ever walked into a space, maybe a party or a tense family dinner, and before a single word is said, you just know the vibe? It's like you can literally feel the mood in the air. You get the emotional temperature of a room instantly, right? You can sense the hidden tension, the quiet joy, the stress, all these unspoken things that are playing out. It's almost like a sixth sense. Maybe you're the person who always spots that tiny crack in a forced smile. Or you can feel the leftover energy from an argument that just ended. You just get who's feeling left out, even if they're putting on a brave face. If any of this is sounding familiar, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, having this kind of social radar, well, it sounds like an amazing advantage, doesn't it? But hold on, here's the twist. Like any superpower, this one has a cost. And honestly, it can be absolutely exhausting. And this pretty much sums it up perfectly. On the outside, people might see you as a social butterfly, someone who's super perceptive and empathetic. But on the inside, you feel like a radar operator on high alert, just constantly scanning, analyzing, and processing every little emotional signal. That constant scanning takes up a huge amount of mental energy. It's like having an app running in the background of your brain 24/7, just draining your battery. Does it ever just leave you feeling totally wiped out after being around people? So, if this ability is so intense, where did it even come from? Well, like all the best superpowers, it has an origin story. And this one, it usually starts way back in childhood, not because you chose it, but because you had to develop it. A lot of times, this goes back to something called parentification. Now, this isn't about blaming anyone. It's just a way to describe a situation where the adults in a child's life were so overwhelmed that the kid had to step up and kind of manage the emotional weather in the house, just to keep things calm. So how does that even happen? Well, it starts when the grown-ups around you are stressed or unpredictable. You learn really fast that your own safety and comfort depend on figuring out their moods ahead of time. You become a pro at reading the tiniest cues to know when to be quiet or when to try and make things better. You pretty much became the family's emotional manager. Okay, so this skill you built, this superpower for reading rooms and people, it has an actual clinical name. And you won't believe how knowing this one little thing can change everything. It's the key to looking at this whole experience in a new way. And this, right here, is the most important part. What you've always thought of as just a social skill is actually something so much deeper. It's a survival mechanism. It's an entire psychological building you constructed, brick by brick, to protect yourself and keep your world from feeling chaotic. The official term for it is hypervigilance. It's basically a state of being on high alert, where your senses are turned up to a 10, constantly scanning your environment, not for fun, but for potential emotional threats or changes that you might need to react to. This is the real reason it can be so draining. Okay, I know that hearing your superpower is actually a trauma response might sound, well, pretty heavy. But let's flip the script on this, because this is where the story gets really empowering. This is not about seeing yourself as broken. This skill wasn't born out of weakness. It was forged in your strength. It's powerful proof of how resilient you are and how amazingly adaptable you had to be. You built a super sophisticated tool to get through a really complex world. That's something to acknowledge. So let's be super clear. This awareness isn't a flaw. It is a strength. The goal isn't to get rid of it. The goal is to learn how to control the dial, to know when to turn it down so you can rest, and when you can choose to turn it up and use it on your own terms. So that leaves us with one last, really important question. Now that you know what it's called and where it came from, what are you going to do with it? How can you start using this unconscious defense mechanism as your most powerful, intentional tool? Your real journey with this superpower starts right now.